As soon as I let the debate between science and the Bible end, I fell in love with Genesis 1. When I grew up as a kid, I looked at, was a really strong, committed scientific creationist. And as a result, I never really read Genesis 1 for what Genesis 1 was trying to say. And so all I was trying to do was use this as an apologetic text to somehow undercut evolution or something like that. And so my concerns were foregrounded, and I just completely missed this beautiful text. As soon as I let this conflict between the Bible and science dissipate, I rediscovered this text and fell in love with it all over again, and truthfully found far more in it that's meaningful to me, even when I'm discussing things with scientists. One of the struggles that I think science has is they don't have a prime mover. They don't have a good explanation for getting things started. I think science struggles with the notion of coming up with an ought to tell people that you should do this. And I think one of the things that science can lead us into is an idea of the perfectibility of human beings. And so there's this utopian vision. And the trouble is that utopian visions always end up being totalitarian, whether it's 1984 or Brave New World or Pan Am. Well, when I read Genesis 1, I find the alternative to all three of these kinds of problems. I have my prime mover, and my prime mover is a loving God who cares about creation. And I'm able to come up with an ought because that loving God tells us that we're to pick up the baton and complete the act, or not complete, but continue the act of creation, that we're to love one another, that we're to care for one another, that we're to treat creation like a garden, the way the biblical image of it is. And I think we also end up dispelling ourselves of this utopian vision as a vision that we think we can implement. Our job is to heal what we can. Our job is to find people who are hurting and give them comfort, to live a moral life and banish chaos from ourselves to the degree that we can. But we also live in this dilemma of knowing creation will not be finished until the Creator finishes it. And so it puts some boundaries on our utopian vision and can kind of pull us back from being overly totalitarian in our trying to perfect humanity. And it gives us that light that's at the end, frankly, of the other end of the Bible. It's when you get all the way to the very last two chapters of the Bible that you have this wonderful vision that says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and there was no more sea. And you go a little bit later in the passage, and it says, and there was no night there. The author of Revelation is the best reader of creation in the entire Bible, because this is someone who figured out that part of what Genesis 1 is doing is it's describing how the world begins with water and darkness. God begins the process of creation, but he doesn't finish it. And we live in this limbo of that unfinished creation, anticipating the day when God will make all things right, that there'll be that new heavens and new earth with no more sea and no more night there. I don't know if there's really a creation with no ocean and no darkness. That's not the point of the text. It's a time of saying that all of that brokenness of creation will one day not be broken anymore. That the tears will be wiped away, death will be no more, crying and pain will be no more, because Jesus makes all things new. I think that's a very biblical understanding of how creation works in the Bible.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video clip from the Delgado Podcast. To get more videos just like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. Take care.